Wait, you don't feed your kids sugar? What about for birthday parties? What about for Halloween? Christmas? Today's topic is a bit controversial, so that's why we're going to talk about it in a not judgy but still honest way. So here's the deal. Is sugar delicious? Yes. Do the tastiest, coolest snacks have processed sugar in them? Yes, absolutely. Does it give me minor anxiety having to explain myself at a social gathering or event where everyone else's kid is eating something except for mine? Yeah, definitely. Is it super inconvenient because nearly all kids' snacks actually have sugar in them, even the good organic ones? Yes, unfortunately. Despite all of those yeses, in this video, I'm sharing why we're taking a more natural sugar approach in our house and how you can too if that's what you want to do. In case we haven't met, I'm Calena. I am a full-time mom to a 3-year-old toddler and also a almost 3-month-old baby girl on my chest. And in my channel, we're keeping things encouraging, positive, talking about things that are a little bit natural, a little bit woo-woo, homeschooling, non-toxic organic living, and of course, parenting and motherhood. So if you're into that, like and subscribe for new videos every week. Walk with me down memory lane for just a moment. It's the late 90s, early 2000s, and Nirvana is playing on the radio. Kids are playing with their skippets outside. Delightfully creepy shows like Rocko's Modern Life and Cat Dog are playing on TV. It was a truly glorious time. My hair is crimped. I'm wearing blue eyeshadow all the way up to my eyebrows and really thick, sticky, glossy lip gloss. I'm rocking a rhinestone-encrusted peephole tank top. And I was so close to being cool with my Lisa Frank notebook and Milky pens. And honestly, all I wanted to do was be seen eating cool things like Lunchables and Go-Gurts in the cafeteria with all my friends. But every time I would go to the store with my parents and ask them to buy those things for me, they would always say no. They told me that it wasn't good for me, and although I didn't care about that at the time, now that I'm an adult, I actually appreciate where they were coming from. They didn't let me have that stuff, so my palate never really adjusted to those overly processed sugary foods, and I feel like because of that, it's been easier for me to eat healthier long-term as an adult. Let me tell you, the few times that I do take a chance and crave that Chick-fil-A or that milkshake from the Habit, I almost always regret it. And I'm just sitting there waiting and wondering which end it's going to come out of. Now in my 30s, running after 2 kids, the last thing that I want is a big grease ball rolling around in my stomach and just feeling super sick all day because my body just doesn't recover in the same way as it used to in my 20s. Fast forward to now, I'm very mistrustful of food. It feels like every other day something is getting recalled. The food pyramid is getting turned upside down. There's some new health craze or something that you're not supposed to eat that used to be fine for you and now is all of a sudden terrible for you. It's just so overwhelming, and I'm just really at a loss of what I even should be eating if it doesn't come from clean animals or from the ground. Even though I eat organic food, it's still just kind of a wash. Things can say that they're pasture raised or organic, and they can still have additives and chemicals and antifungals and all kinds of weird things in them. If you are curious as to why we eat organic and what that even means, make sure to check out this video. Honestly, who the hell knows what we should be eating anymore, but I think we can all agree on things that we probably should not be eating. And I think that foods with highly processed sugars are probably one of those things we can agree on. So let me quickly share the TLDR on what sugar actually does inside our bodies. So it gives us a massive spike in energy followed by a crash. It can result in insulin resistance and mood swings, irritability, and also issues sleeping at night, especially if it's consumed later in the day. I don't know about you, but I'm already struggling with a 3-year-old temper tantrum terrorist, and the last thing that I want to be doing is adding fuel to that fire. I personally also have just a family history of obesity and diabetes and just general unhealthy relationships with food. Also, P.S., sugar can influence your palate as well. So the more you consume it, the more you crave it, and also the more you actually need to eat it in order to still taste that something is sweet. Which is really strange, but also kind of hopeful because the flip side of that can also be true. So if you start reducing the amount that you eat or just eliminate it altogether, your taste buds will actually start adjusting, and things that maybe didn't used to taste sweet will start tasting sweet and just better again. And if your kids can be picky eaters sometimes, like my son has started to be, it's good to know that something like that can actually be reversed if we can just change the things that we're feeding in the kitchen. Okay, so this is a bit tangential too, but I read this prison study, which I'll link below, that basically said that changing the prisoners' food to a whole food diet from something that was way more processed before actually resulted in a reduction of violent rule violations by 80%. So if consuming whole foods instead of processed ones can make such an impact on adults with fully developed brains, just imagine what it can do for tiny humans with brains that are still developing and lots of big feelings. Guys, at the end of the day, I'm just a mom trying to do the best that I can do for my kids. And I really just feel like part of that, setting them up for success, just starts at home in the kitchen. So let's talk about what types of sugar we do eat and also some healthier swaps. First, we eat a ton of fruit, literally all fruit, bananas, apples, kiwis, plums, pears, you name it, we eat it. Sometimes we get fancy. Sometimes you throw a couple dates in there, sometimes some figs, sometimes just a little bit of honey. And let me tell you, even though it's better now, that was a really hard adjustment for me to make because I used to love baking. And baking with mashed bananas and applesauce is not the same as baking with granulated sugar. I used to make really cool fancy things like French macarons and panna cottas and lemon bars and pineapple upside down cakes. And you can't do any of that without granulated sugar. So it was sad. I had to mourn the baker that I was and try to look up recipes all the time and figure out how can I make things that still taste edible, let alone delicious, without sugar, and how can I kind of start from scratch and become a better baker that can make healthier things for my family. Here are some healthier swaps that can actually help with baking. Using mashed banana, just mashing it up, especially if you add some vanilla extract to it and some other stronger flavors like orange or lemon zest, that can take the banana flavor out but leave the banana sweetness. Applesauce is also a really great option. It still has so much sweetness and it's really easy to make at home. If something really does need extra sweetness, I'll do some honey, or I even have been loving this date paste that I've been making. It's really just a bowl of dates, pour some hot water on it, put it in the blender, and then you can use that paste as a sugar substitute. It's still sugar. Dates have a lot of sugar in them, but at least it's sugar from a whole food source. We also eat a lot of fats. We love nut butter. Lots of nuts, lots of nut butter. Macadamia nut butter, pistachio nut butter, almond butter, peanut butter, any kind of nut butter. I feel like that's a really easy thing to go for, and it's also very satiating. We eat a lot of other fats too, like avocados and lots of cheese. We love goat cheese, we love Gouda, any kind of cheese, you name it, we also eat that. We also do cottage cheese and also full fat whole milk yogurt. So let me break down an example of what this actually looked like this past weekend. So we had some friends over for a pancake breakfast, which we try to do every Sunday. And instead of just using maple syrup on our pancakes, I actually just made a berry compote. And to make that berry compote, all I needed was some frozen berries from the store that I just stuck in a pot on the stovetop and cooked down. I added a little bit of vanilla extract, and then I also zested an orange and added a little bit of the juice as well. And all we did was just drizzle that over the top instead of honey, and it tasted amazing. My son also loves peanut butter on his pancakes too, so it was basically like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but a homemade version of it. So I also want to share some thoughts on sugar-free socializing because honestly, this one's been kind of tough for me. It's that moment where you're meeting a new friend at the park, or maybe a friend that you've met a couple times at the park but haven't shared a meal with yet, and you see what they're eating. Maybe they brought a snack for everyone to share. And I have to ask, hey, on the down low, does that have sugar in it? Can you just tell me what's in that? And then there's the waiting. There's the moment where I'm just waiting for them to say sugar so that I can say, okay, great, no problem. And then just kind of try to get out of it and weasel my way out over to the side without them realizing that I'm not going to feed that to my kid. It's definitely awkward. It can be really uncomfortable. And sometimes people give me a pat on the back too. They say, oh, your kid doesn't eat sugar. Good for you. Those moments are a little bit more rare, but I still appreciate them nonetheless. So I basically try not to bring it up or definitely lead with that unless someone really specifically asks me about it, because I find that it's divisive and I'm really trying to make friends. I'm not trying to isolate or alienate myself or make my child seem like the weird one or feel like the odd one out, because nobody wants that. I also sometimes will just bring my own snacks to share with people. That way I don't even have to have that conversation and people can get to know other things about me without focusing on something that they disagree with. Sometimes it's funny when we share that we're kind of sugar-free or that we eat organic food, because we'll invite people over for dinner or for meals, and sometimes they won't invite us over. And I actually had a friend tell us, oh, I wanted to invite you guys over for breakfast because we invited you over for breakfast, but we only had regular strawberries and not organic ones. And I just wasn't sure if you would go for that. And I'm just rolling my eyes and kind of laughing, going, I mean, you're giving us a free meal in your home. That's so nice. I will definitely come over and eat it. I'm not going to, completely shun someone for not eating organic like I do at all, or pass up a free meal and an invite. That's just, it's silly and it's ridiculous. I'd rather sacrifice eating a Monsanto strawberry one time than feel like I'm losing a friend. Come on. Ultimately, I feel like this approach has been really good for our family because, let's be honest, I am way too lazy to give my son a separate meal from what my husband and I are eating every day. And if I'm going to have high standards for him, he's going to eat organic, whole food, no sugar at home, then that means that I'm going to have to eat that too. And I feel like I'm doing my job. I feel like I'm setting my kids up for success. And that's all that we can hope for as a parent. Let me know in the comments, where do you stand on sugar in your house? And what are some other substitutes that I can be using besides some of the things that I mentioned to make things just taste better and bake better? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.